Hello. How is everybody this morning? Hello, Karen Doyle. Hello, Hypnicity. How are you today, my fellow Lemurians? Well, I thought this week I would go ahead and just have my usual live chats on Tuesday, but I figured, well, actually, I didn't figure. The Dolphins said, nope, let's do this on Thanksgiving morning. So hopefully this is early enough for everybody that's scurrying around and needs to do other things. Just could be playing in the background, but feel free to come grab your cocoa or your coffee or your hot water and come hang out with us. And mostly it's going to be a very informal today. We are on, for the Lemurian astrology, we are on the very last day of Kahuku. And this is the sign that goes from November 1st through the 28th. So this is the sign of the butterfly. And so our essence this month has been very internal. It's been, of course, speaking to transformation this month. And then we will have 2 days of Ma'ita. That's going to be on the 29th and November 30th. And those will be the pure crystal light of days. The undistorted light then will come from the central sun directly onto Earth. And it's kind of the transition days in between. And then we will be having the essence of Okapi come in from December 1st through the 28th. And that will be, of course, Light of Father. And we'll be getting more into that, I'm sure. So for anybody that's going to be here or on the replay, I'm going to start us all off with some Lemurian light coding that I simply call the harmonization. And so energetically, that's going to get us all on the same page. Tihe mori ora mahaka watahi iti ingawa te te irita o atuwana waiutapu iti ingawa te whenui rani te kitau waiutapu iti ingawa te whaia taumatua te tama waiutapu tihe mori ora. Hi, Sandra Dow. How you doing? Happy Thanksgiving to anybody who's wandering on here. And I know some people get triggered from it, but it's, as I was saying yesterday on Valerie's show, in North America, we tend to do a gathering in of the tribes this time of year. Originally, it was the pagan celebrations and holidays. Hi, Utica. And so it's a harvest festival that gets celebrated. And in fact, even for our Thanksgiving Day here in America, it was invented, for lack of another word. That would have been one of the Roosevelts back in the 1930s, 1937 maybe. And that would have been Franklin Delano Roosevelt that did that. So happy Thanksgiving. But basically it's an overlay from the older pagan holidays that just simply were reflecting to say hi and Thanksgiving and, to acknowledge the bounty, the harvest festivals that just happened. So, and it's interesting to me too, because there are, I don't know, I think people maybe have reinvented the stories from the first Americans that have been here, and all of a sudden they've the 2D entities have yet again created yet another division because they really want to make sure that they keep feeding off of us, which is pretty silly. So everything that I've known has been the First Nation people celebrated the harvest festivals and shared just as much as any newcomer that came in. So hi, Judy. How you doing today? So in other words, if you're a First Nation person, which I actually have 2 First Nation tribes in my genetic makeup, you don't need to get pissy-wissy over the day or the event, because all you're doing is feeding a 2D entity anyways. So going out with your friends. Or your family. I know, right? It's way easier to be hanging out on Memorial 5. I laugh a lot more. I really do. And it seems really inappropriate at times. But the Dolphins, they they really come through in that energy. A lot of times I'm busy laughing and enjoying. So it's like, man, life can be pretty good. But mostly I wanted to be here just in case of people that, I'm old enough. I've been through Thanksgivings that have been weird, where you just didn't want to celebrate that year for whatever reason, or you're in a position where you just can't be around your friends and your family. So I thought I would come and hang out in case anybody needed some company this morning. You're not alone. You're never alone, especially with Source. Source is amazing. I know. Well, your weird family, Judy says. I don't know. I take that as a compliment. I mean, my family growing up has always been weird. So I know, right? Let's be grateful that we're breathing. I actually was grateful for that this morning. That was one of the first things that I did. I usually try to wake up and be grateful for, I don't always succeed, but whenever I'm waking up, I try to be grateful for 3 things before I get myself out of the bed. Breathing is usually one of those things. And knowing that I am loved by Source, Spirit, Creator, Divine, that's another one that usually comes in. Yeah, we're good, weird. Breathing's another one I'm happy with. Oh, yeah. Yeah, one of my siblings was born in a Mercury retrograde, too. Figaro is the name of Mercury in Lemuria. And it's fascinating because even though it's supposed to be retrograde, what it's doing is it's an optical illusion thing that it's going backwards. So it's actually doing a spiral up while it's going through its transit. Oh, that's beautiful. In Western astrology, people that are born in a Mercury retrograde, I wouldn't, I think everybody's weird, if you want to call it that, because I think the word weird just simply translates to unique. But it is usually during Mercury retro, if you were born during a Mercury retro, they usually have it easier than normal people in that flow. And so for them, it will seem pretty normal. Their equipment and their communication doesn't seem to be as affected as regular people. You'll be doing your crystal stuffs. Well, and that's just it. Hypnicity. You can put that out there, and if anybody wants it, feel free to tap in. In fact, what I wanted to do, since we've got enough people in here, I'm going to be doing a quick alchemization because I do want people to be in peace in this day and in this space. And so by doing that, we don't fight with a 2D entity. We don't fight with a 3D entity. And we certainly do not fight one side or the other in the polarity of what is 4D. So what we have are 2D entities that understand 4D technology and wield it against us in the 3D. So to get away from that, we go up and into a higher frequency, into a higher dimension, because they can't follow up into that. That's why they do not want people that have peace or laughter or harmony with their families. They simply can't attach to that. So what I'm going to do is, if you could go ahead and imagine, and this is going to be live for now, but also if you're watching this on the replay, feel free to join in with this, okay? So go ahead and just look up, like you're looking up towards a spot on the ceiling or up towards your third eye, which is just above the eyebrows, the eyebrow chakra. And then just gently close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in. And imagine yourself being held by Mother Earth. So whatever your favorite grounding space is, you could be sitting under a tree or walking along a lake, in an alpine meadow, along the beach. Okay, just go ahead and get yourself grounded in Mother Earth. Give me just a second to set up my own energy here. Perfect. Let's begin. Alchemy of the first dimension. Alchemy of the second dimension. Alchemy of the third dimension. Alchemy of the fourth dimension. Alchemy of the fifth dimension. Alchemy of the sixth dimension. Alchemy of the seventh dimension. Alchemy of the eighth dimension. Alchemy of the ninth dimension. Alchemy of the 10th dimension. And alchemy of the 11th dimension. Okay, and when you're ready, ground back into Mother Earth. Gently come back into your body. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your fingers. Wiggle your nose or laugh to come back in and to be grounded. Yeah, I was just about to say that if you feel dizzy, you can still imagine yourself hugging a tree, or you can run some running water over your hands. You can place your hands in some running water. That will help to ground off as well. Take a deep breath in. Yes. You can always imagine rooting yourself in Mother Earth. You can always bring up the Mother Earth vibe even stronger if it's made you dizzy. We went up a really high way today. The Dolphins were requesting that because I got to be honest, I was going to tap us out at around 8. They're like, nope. I said, are we stopping at 10? No. We're going all the way up to the 12th today. And there are a lot of dimensions that are much higher up. If you look at some of the different modalities around the globe, there's like, chakra systems that go well up into the hundreds over the top of us. And those are cosmic connections. But my primary for this was to get us up so that we are up. Ah, cool. 1111111. That's great. It's an abundance number there. That's a master number. 1111. 1111. Utica's still over in Mumbai. So that's in the morning, huh? Goodness. You're a little night owl, Utica. Did I just zap everybody asleep? I might have zapped everybody asleep. This happens frequently. Well, the nice thing is, if somebody has insomnia, you can come back and replay this, and it'll probably put you right back to sleep. Well, what's happening right now is If you're feeling dizzy or you're sleepy, it what happens is the activations that we're doing, and even the sounds, or even just seeing my name, you're getting activations, and it's hitting your energy field, and so it's upgrading your energy field. And a lot of times, what'll happen is you'll feel sleepy. It will knock your conscious mind offline for your body to go ahead and your energetic system. I do a lot of work with the energy body, and so just by being around me or seeing me, a lot of times you'll be upgrading and you won't even realize it. The side effect really is you're usually sleepy. Chugging water. That's a good thing. You're so welcome, Sandra. Holy moly, Judy. Eating a pumpkin chocolate chip cookie. Wow, that sounds indulgent. Speaking of indulgent, because I have been indulging, I did create, it's going to be on my channel, and it is a video that I did yesterday. It got released. And because a lot of us love to indulge in foods this time of year that we normally do not indulge in, there is energy that is built into that soundtrack. One, to help calm things down and to create a harmonic peace with everybody that's in the environment. And the other one is chocolate chips not so good for dogs. You might want to have Daisy pass on that. But the other thing is that it's I do have a universal meridian balancing energy on that Stop the Stress for the Holidays video. So you can play that at a very low volume. You don't actively need to be listening to any of it. It is quantum. And so it will help to ease any congestion that will happen on the meridians from overindulging in the foods and the drinks that we're going to be having today, tomorrow, etc. Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah. The pumpkin part. The pumpkin's actually really good for the dogs. It's just, the problem with the chocolate chip is the chocolate has theobromine in it. And so sometimes it can be hit or miss if it's going to tag a dog or not. And it doesn't seem to be related to their size. So it's always better to just pass on that if you can. I seem to only hog food, not feeling satisfied. Oh, okay, sure. Utica, you might be needing, let me think. Salt for sure, but a lot of times women get this, where at nighttime we crave the salt and the salt and the fat, especially at night, and that might be it. You might find that if you nibble just a little bit of butter or ghee, that might help you to overcome that craving. Sugar Crazy 660, that's our first dopamine hit. Hey Paul, how you doing? How did it go? How did you make it safely to your yeah, great. Okay. You're in South Carolina. That's wonderful. Yeah. Salt followed by sugar, then by salt. Yeah, your body is craving. You, like I said, you might try some ghee, Utica, to see if that helps with the craving. Your sister's probably thrilled that you can be distracted. Come over here and sit with us. We'll talk food. That's funny. Yeah, all I was saying is if people run into trouble with their food today, or if you want to do it preemptively, then you can just play that in the background too. Oh yeah, I love pickle juice. Yeah, Judy's saying for Utica, pickle juice is over here is really cheap and fast way to get some electrolytes in you. I know, when it was sugar, real sugar, and not, and even the sugar, if you look at the sugar, they've changed the sugars. It's It used to be just pure cane sugar that they had growing, like the old commercial, growing in the sun, CNH. But that now they've combined it, and they even do extracts from like beet, sugar beet. What is pickle juice? Pickle juice is literally the water or the juice from any kind of pickle. So it's a type of a dill pickle, and so they will. A lot of times people will use that as a cheap stand-in for an electrolyte. I know for myself, I used to in the summertime because I would run around and sweat like crazy as a kid. And the pickle juice, drinking a little bit of pickle juice was a quick way to get an awful lot of different electrolytes back in your body quickly. They all said, go talk to Debbie. Yeah, get you out of their hair. They've got cooking to do. They don't want the brother in the mix. That's funny. Ah, wow. My mom made great deal pickles. That sounds amazing. I don't know if they have. Do they have pickles over there in India, Utica? I would have thought they maybe had it. Yeah, before Gatorade. And you know what's strange for me is the only time that I could ever manage Gatorade was if I was doing some huge, supreme, like running around or whatever, literally like cross country running or something. It had to be an enormous Herculean effort because otherwise Gatorade just made me sick. Pickle juice was fine, but Gatorade, ugh. Oh, they call it chutney. Is that what that is? Chutney? Basically, it's preserved cucumbers, and then they have dill, obviously, salt, and then there's other. Let me think. There's preservatives in it. I want to say there's alum to preserve it. Oh, you are allergic to dill? Well, then skip the pickle juice for sure. Obviously, if you're allergic to it, don't do it. But yeah, basically it was, that's something else you could do too, is you could just take Himalayan rock salt and mix that in with just regular water, and you can drink that instead. Ooh. Pickled eggs with beet juice. Wow. That's interesting. Spicy. Yeah, I don't do spicy. Not if I can avoid it. Chutney's different. So chutney is different. It's made with coconut. But they make chutneys over in the UK too, don't they? Do they make those with the coconut too, or is it a different recipe? Ooh, Paul, that sounds good. The turkey and the ham is cooking now. That turkey usually takes forever, but when it's done, it is so worth it. Love beets. You can have my beets, Hypnicity. Beets was one of those things my mom never could get me to eat. Ooh, oysters. Yeah, we have. I'm having 2 different chowders this year, which my hubby absolutely adores making Thanksgiving. Always has, and so this year he created clam chowder with our local clams and our local Tillamook Swiss cheese and Kerrygold butter. And then we also have another one that is a lobster base flavored bouillon, but it is with the local Dungeness crab and the local shrimp. And Tillamook cheese. So, woo, hey, that's a deal. You can have my beets and I'll take your oysters. Washington State has some amazing oysters. Goose Point is the one that comes to mind, but there was another one. Let me think. Oregon has amazing oysters too. I usually get mine from Bay City, but I'm trying to remember. Maybe it was Goose Point. But it seemed like there was another one that was up in Washington State that was really amazing for the oysters. Such clean, clear oysters and clean, clear waters. Yeah, the Dungeness crab. Our, and that was just it. It's because it's local here. You know, we have our seafood. The fishing boats, they go out right here every day. They're going out. So we have seafood, fresh seafood that's available to us as they come back in. As I said, we've got Bay City. It's about an hour's drive to the south of us. And so we have oysters that grow right there in the bay. And it's just incredible. Aw, how pretty. Never too old. Yep. Never too old. Yeah. Yeah. Washington State has amazing oysters. That's so cool. When we were doing, because we just finished doing alchemy of the first through the 11th dimensions to arrive in the 12th dimension. She said I was a bit behind, but then I said 10th or the 11th dimensions, one of those, and began moving around like a dolphin. And that was just it. The dolphins were urging us to go up into the 12th dimension today. See, I was going to tap out. I was going to go maybe to like level 8 or level 10. But no, they wanted it much higher today. So that's what we did. Alchemies. And you can always come back to the alchemies too. They are timeless. So that's when, if you're feeling mired down, or if you're starting to get bogged down by 3D reality, you can hop on and you can jump on that. What you need to do, the only two things you need to do is start off imagining yourself in Mother Earth. And then you just listen and you follow all the way up through the dimensions. The energy will be doing the work for you. And the nice thing is, with those activations, they will help to bring you up and hold you up in those higher dimensions as well, which is great. Oh no, slip, slide, and oysters on. Ugh. That is the one thing. My oysters need to be cooked. I just don't deal well with it's the texture. I've got an aunt, and to this day, she's still trying to convince me that she can cook okra that I would really want to eat. It's like, not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. Woo, Paul, no work today. I'll bet you're loving it. Isn't it crazy too? Because you have like these days when your brain's already wired. It's like, nah, I gotta get up. I've got this and I've got that. And then you realize it's almost like having a snow day or something, where it's like, ooh, I could do this, or I could do that. I can sleep in. Oh no, you start her husband. Ah, that's funny. He loved his oysters, huh? That whole, no, not this kid. Those things have to be cooked for me to enjoy it. Once they're cooked, I'm happy. Yeah, oyster po' boys, I think that's what they were called, from Louisiana. Wow, those were good. But they're always cooked. Always. Dowsing rods are fun. I wonder if my dowsing rods are somewhere around here. The last time we had when we moved to this farm, we needed some work done on the septic, which is not glamorous, but we weren't positive on where the pipes were, and we kept trying to find it. They couldn't find it. Finally, the one man, he's like, he made a comment that he said he was really sad that he didn't have his dowsing rods on him because he could find them. And I said, actually, I happen to have a set. And so I ran inside, got my dowsing rods, they're copper dowsing rods, and came back out, handed them over to him. And I backed away because I tend to have a very large energy field anyways. And so I knew that I could accidentally affect it. And sure enough, whenever he started, he was really puzzled because he looked at me funny that I had backed away. But the rods, of course, swung towards me. And so I backed up even further. And they still swung towards me. And by that point, he was really looking at me strange. And then I just simply backed away and shut down my energy field even more. I tucked it in closer and said, yeah, I know I will accidentally affect it. And so whenever I was able to kind of shield my energy away from it, Then the dowsing rods, they swung true, and they located the pipe for us with no problem. And the guys that he was working with didn't really realize it. Yeah, the copper works great. They didn't realize that he could pull a rabbit out of the hat like that, and I could tell he was kind of keeping his cards close to the vest. But I asked him afterwards. I said, was it? Do you have Native American Indian in your makeup? And he said, yeah, it was his grandmother, and she was Cherokee that had taught him. You don't have to be. Don't get me wrong. Anybody can do the dowsing rods. They're just a tool. And so you get attuned to them, and what they do is they will help you to see what's going through you energy-wise subconsciously, which is a lot of fun. You're Cherokee. I'm Cherokee and Choctaw, and my husband's Lakota Sioux, among many, many other things. I mean, we're such melting pots, ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah, the copper. Copper is just a really good, it's a good conduit. But even back in the day, I mean, I can remember grabbing a stick of willow, forked stick of willow to find the water sources when we were out hiking around, which was good because I needed a creek at that point. Out hiking and needed some water, and we wandered. Yeah, I'm not a big Tabasco fan myself. I like a little bit for flavor, but I'm not really huge on the spicy stuffs. I don't like my food being mean. But I will say that Tabasco and especially like the cayennes and things, they're very high, naturally very high in vitamin C, which is really good for you. Please tell him the white buffalo women need to talk. White buffalo women can come forward and talk. They don't need permission from anything. Oh, my hubby, he's not actually in a tribe. It's just he's told me that's where his ancestors are Lakota Sioux. Mm-hmm. Lifetimes as the indigenous on the plains. Wow, that was one too, completely different tack. But I did do some more research on Mr. Nikola Tesla. He was a very interesting man from the mid 1800s, and by all accounts, he never married because he wanted to be focused upon his inventions. That was going to be his legacy and his gift. And oh, you're so welcome, Denise. Yay. Oh, I'm so happy to have you here. But the fascinating thing with Nikola Tesla, because during the 1800s, of course, the ideas that they had of women back then, of course, were cattle. They didn't understand that women could be educated and intelligent and all kinds of things. However, with him, his father was off working as a professor during the day. He was at home with his mother and his sisters, and he had the utmost respect for the intelligence of his mother, who it turns out had been an inventor of her own. And he said she made the most marvelous kitchen inventions to make her life easier. And apparently his siblings, his sisters, were quite intelligent as well. Excuse me. So it was fascinating that he knew, recognized, and felt it important that the women become educated going forward, because he could already see the rising of the feminine as well. Yep, he had it. Yeah. Funny that you should mention this, because I came across this quote, and yeah, Edison did steal his ideas. Let me see, not that one. Going to, because it's a quote, and I want to get this quote right. Here we go. Okay, this is one of many Nikola Tesla's, but it says the alpha waves in the human brain are between 6 and 8 hertz. Now we all know this, right? Because the 6 and the 8, that wave range of the 6 to the 8 hertz, the Schumann resonance, the Earth resonance actually is right in between that. Okay, so it says that the wave frequency of the human cavity, meaning your brain, will resonate between 6 and 8 hertz. This means it can be used for good, but his quote continues, all biological systems operate in the same frequency range. The human brain, the alpha waves function in this range, and the electrical resonance of the earth is between 6 and 8 hertz. Thus, our entire biological system, the brain, and the earth itself work on the same frequencies. If we can control that resonance system electronically, we can directly control the entire mental system of humankind. End quote, Nikola Tesla. So, when I've been saying this over and over and over again about watch what you're thinking, especially if something is making you triggered, something is making you angry, feel fear, pay attention to whatever you're exposed to in that moment, because there is a very good chance that you're being manipulated. Yeah, they were rivals. Edison, Nikola Tesla did start, he was apprenticed with Edison for a short time, but they clashed. They definitely had different ideas and opinions. And it's because of Nikola Tesla that we actually have the electrical system. Apparently, he was the one that installed the hydroelectricity dam at Niagara Falls for New York City, and I cannot remember the name of it, but there is a province that is in Canada. There's a city in a province in Canada that runs one of his old electrical systems. It's for the grid, and granted, it's not a very large town. However, that thing has been generating electricity for that town since it was installed in the 1800s. Ah, cool. Maya Star, Lemurian 5. I've listened to some of it, and that's just that it needs to either resonate with you or it won't. But some of it's quite pretty. Dr. Virtual Zero has a Tesla healing and the 0 point frequency. Utica, whenever I do the undoing and the doing, that's another 0 point technology that I'm using. So it collapses the wave. What was his thing? He had a thing going with the numbers 3, 6, and 9. According to him, 3, 6, he thought that numbers were living, breathing entities. So I suspect not only do we have the patterns that are going, and in fact, he has what was called vortex math. And I've got to be honest, part of my brain can't wrap around it just yet. I've got to watch the videos that I've encountered with them, and then walk away, and then come back and look at it again, and then walk away. It's a very unique way of thinking, especially of mathematics. And I could only wish that I had actually been exposed more to what he was doing with the physics, especially the electricity. Unfortunately for me, whenever I was learning physics in school, I showed a little too much interest in the resonant frequencies, and my teacher panicked and kind of packed it up on that chapter. So, c'est la vie. Tesla traveled up here near the border, Grand Forks, placed a plaque up there near the Canadian highway. You can still see it. That's possible too. Idaho Fall generates a bunch of electricity. Well, it's like us, we have the hydro dams over here in Oregon. And as far as the system goes, I find it perfect. You're not harming anything. They already have the fish chutes in place. I got to be honest. I think that the fish chutes, actually, we end up with more fish because of the fish chutes being built into our hydro dams than we have if they are left to their own devices. We'll see, because they destroyed one of our hydro dams down at the Oregon-California border, which is kind of funny because nobody was allowed to even discuss that. It just simply wasn't, oh, by the way, we're destroying this because we think it's going to be okay. Time will tell, but yeah, so far the Eagles are not too thrilled with this concept. I was told I needed to listen to a high heart thymus activation. Good. That's great. Flower of Life. Yeah, Takuping O'Malley. The concentric circles. Yeah, everybody knows what that one looks like, the Flower of Life. That's cool. According to Sandra, you can still see that. Yeah, sacred geometry. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Elon Musk is very unusual. But I think he's really good at management, human management, perhaps. He has very interesting ideas. He is intelligent, but I'm not sure just how much the technical know-how. I don't know how much, because like with Nikola Tesla, he was very much an inventor from the ground up. He watched and observed nature and got a lot of ideas from that. And I find with Elon that he is quite a different character from Nikola Tesla. Mm-hmm. Yes, that was one of his quirks. He would, before he would enter any of the buildings, he would circle the building 3 times. Yep. And yeah, he pretty sure he was Venusian, the original Tesla. Yeah, I agree with you, Hypnicity. That's just it. I don't think he is a true inventor per se. I think he's one of those amazing people that manages people very well. And I think that he does, I think he sees the potentials. When things are presented to him, I think that he can see through things and maybe simplify things and bring them into an alignment. Henry Ford was very much like that too, creator of the Ford industry, Ford cars. Yeah, same as Hypnicity saying, he builds the teams, and it was the same thing with Henry Ford. He believed in gathering the people that were intelligent around him. Tesla was born, Nikola was born during thunderstorm in July, yes, and he was also born in Austria, so in the mountain regions on top of it. So to him, he was always surrounded by electricity. I don't support his chip thing either. I think the chip thing is one of those double-edged swords. He is dual, and he is really dual. Whenever you start looking into some of his background, he's very much an interesting brand, I guess you could say. But I can understand on the one hand where he's wanting to bring sight to people that may have brain damage, or hearing to others who may have physical limitations. However, as Nikola Tesla had said, if you can control the electrical system, You can control human thought. And to some extent, I think that he knew that. He warned people with that quote, and it's being clearly done right now. We have the technology, so it is being done. So whenever I say people are being manipulated, they really are being manipulated, which is why, as we're coming into, and I'm not saying that to scare people, as we come into, we need to make sure that we start standing more up for our own sovereignty, and so that we begin preserving our peace and we begin preserving our relationships with our families and our close friends, and that we choose to have peace. We choose to be happy. We choose harmony and love over division and hate. Yeah, that's just it. Gray is saying with Musk, he was actually raised under extreme violence with South Africa. Um, and so that you can tell he's naturally gifted. He clearly is. He definitely thinks quite differently. And the nice thing about him is he's not shy with saying what he thinks. And he's in a unique position to where he can back up what he's saying. Cancel culture was quite bad for a while. I think it's backed off just a little bit. I think people are now more willing to listen, whereas previously they didn't even want, you couldn't even say hi and they'd cancel you. It was ridiculous. Tesla wanted the world. Yeah, the original. Yep. And the reason why is because the industrials freaked out over it. Nikola Tesla built Wardenclyffe with, I'm trying to remember who his backer was. I wanted to say it was J.P. Morgan, but it definitely was the bankers in the oil industry, the industrialists, who built Wardenclyffe. It has to be said, he did use their money to bring his idea to life. He wanted to share his vision of wireless communication with the world, and obviously to have free electricity for the world. That was well over 100 years ago. But of course, the industrialists, that was where their money was to be made. So they absolutely kicked him out over that one and destroyed him because of it. Yeah, that's just it. I think Elon Musk, I think his intentions are basically good. I agree. Sometimes there are unintended consequences, and you don't understand that until you step forward, and then all of a sudden, all of the um, all of the issues come out of the woodworks. I mean, like, hey, let's put a brain chip in somebody. I'm standing back going, yeah, sure. What could possibly go wrong with that? But to that person that can't see, obviously, it would be a matter of a whole new world for them, which would be amazing. But yeah, I could easily see where it would become quite destructive in the wrong hands. And quite frankly, we have an awful lot of people that are quite destructive. Mm, yeah, it's like this. Think about how great we could be if there was no greed. And greed is just the other side of poverty. It's again, we're trying for that 0 point between the two. Goodness. Wow. Elon Musk brutalized by the father. Goodness, goodness, goodness. That's a tough upbringing. That's nice to know. Ancient Alien series ran a beautiful tribute to Tesla. He was a fascinating individual. I know that there is a lot that we don't know about him. Some of the um, things that he created, especially for the war effort, it was pretty fascinating. But he was always connected to the Venus, Venusians. Goodness, goodness. Hmm. Yep. Yeah. Oh, that is sad. Lost a baby. He's got a big family though. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Well, I'm sorry, but with the SIDS, you can't really blame that on one parent or another, but sometimes it happens because you're looking for a reason why in an emotional state. Yep. It's an interesting individual. And then we've got Nikola Tesla, who was just fascinating. I think he was in his late 80s whenever he finally passed. Um, there was a documentary that I watched. I cannot remember who did that, but it was fascinating because it was a discussion about how it was how Nikola Tesla died in poverty and living in a hotel, and then somebody said, "Yeah, but you should have seen the hotel." And he had 3 rooms at the top of a very specifically designed building that had an amazing subway feature. It had its own private subway entrance underneath the hotel. And if I remember correctly, there was a radio tower that was in, and I believe that they had the communications that went to the rooms as well. Um, but it was fascinating because when you look back upon that, it is one of those things where we think in terms of radio's old shtick, but back then it was cutting edge technology. I look like Shirley Temple. I'll take that as a compliment. She brought a lot of joy to the world. And yeah, I would say that Tesla did die broken, and that was because he had ideas that he really wanted to trust with the world, and so um, definitely wanted to share that with everybody. But you can, 2D entities. No, 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 no. Well, you have a great time, Paul. Stay out of trouble. Enjoy your food. Can I trust a YouTube channel who does the codes? All I can say on that, Utica, is follow what your body resonates with, and you're just going to have to kiss a lot of frogs, as they say. Give it a try. You would not believe how many resonant frequency musics that I've listened to and I've instantly backed out of because it's like, oh, no, 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 no. Ah, then you have to go do a palate cleanser and try again. And sometimes things sound great for a while, and then after a while, you start noticing that you're starting to get like that, tensed up, anxious, concerned. Mm-mm. Just you just have to keep fishing around until your body tells you that something is in there. Yeah, I don't. Most of my stuff is that I listen to when I'm doing my own Lemurian codes in the morning. I do my own energy balancing to begin with. I do my own meridian balancing in the morning, and then I also run through a bunch of the Lemurian codes, which you will hear the same codes that I use. You'll also see if you look on my channel, I have the codes in. There's a Lemurian recentering and rebalancing video, and those are the ones that I'll use. And I call them technology because the sounds from that actually work on your energy system and the environment around you. Oh wow. Was the only one born on the family farm in Saskatchewan. Wow. So she had to do all the farm chores? Yikes. I love Shirley Temple. She was such a cutie. And by all accounts, she was an interesting person. I think she went on to become an ambassador for the U.S. think so. Smart woman. Oh, sure. You want to do the harmonization again? Sure. We did that before, but yeah, we've got quite a few new people in here. So here we go. Tie Mori Ora Mahagawa Ite Ingawa to Iri to Ottawana. Wayota Ite Ingawa Tafenui Torani Tao Wayota Ite Ingawa Tafaya Tamatua Tama Wayota Tie Mori Ora. I'm actually hearing we're going to go ahead and do, we'll go ahead and do an undoing and a doing, just one set. There we go. You are so welcome. Aw, yay, Alevasar, yay. Oh, wow, posh, civil, huh? My mom was born at home. Actually, my mom, my dad, all of the relatives, everybody was born at home. Not me. I mean, I was born in a hospital, but you're so welcome. You are so, so welcome. Wowzers. Yeah, there was, I've done a little bit of digging. Somebody asked, and forgive me because I can't remember who it was. It was in one of my comments, but someone had asked about Atlantean, since we have the Lemurian birth signs, and it's not made up. The Lemurian birth signs are actually those that are found in Australia and New Zealand, and they've been around for a very long time. So this is just a matter of ancient new, just remembering what the birth signs were for the Lemurian birth signs. But they were asking, since Lemuria obviously had birth signs, did the people of Atlantis have birth signs as well? I would imagine that they did. And those would, of course, have been found somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. So we're looking for things like the old mythologies from any of the regions of the Gulf of Mexico to any of the eastern seaboard for America. And I don't know is my answer. I haven't heard of any civilizations that have it. When I did do digging, I came across one system that said that they did have it. That was a 15 birth sign. Ours is a 13 birth sign for Lemuria, but they said that the Atlantic one was for the Atlanteans were 15. However, when you do some more digging around, I couldn't tell if that was real or if it was because it was information shared from like a fiction story, or you know, like like the Lord of the Rings, you know, or Narnia. Obviously, they have mythos built into those, and so it's something that I'm still digging around on. But yeah, I'm curious too. I mean, if anybody comes across the true Atlantean calendars, because obviously the world rotates on different calendars. You know, we've got quite a few of them. This is the 5th iteration of, as I said, Lemuria moved around. The last big fight, Lemuria had been located in the Pacific Ocean, and Atlantis had been sunk in the Gulf of Mexico. So remnants of that is the Bimini Road, of course. And the Bermuda Triangle, I would be shocked, honestly, if we did not have Atlantis in the Bermuda Triangle. I really would. Because I suspect that there's probably that civilization intact and right there. But prior to that, as I said, Lemuria 2 would have been located for the Avalon stories. That was located in Tara, Cornwall, Devon, that region. Lemuria 3 would have been based in India, Mongolia. That region was Shambhala. I think that was also called Shangri-La. So it's moved around the world. But we have, there's different civilizations, and each civilization is going to have quite a different iteration. I resonate with the Lemurian birth signs simply because as we come forward, the reason that Atlantis fell, and it was reminded through Plato why the Atlanteans fell, is because they were so fixated on the head. They were so buried in logos, which is what we're trying to prevent this time through. So as we come out of the head and focus more into our heart space, if you can listen to different frequency music, the solfeggio musics that you can listen to would be the heart centering solfeggios. So that would be in the 500 range and above. Any music that can be harmonized to a 432 hertz will be helpful to your natural alignment. It's the same thing as what happened in the 1920s, 30s. They changed our music. They changed the frequency, and a lot of times you can come across on YouTube. You'll see the difference between 440 hertz and 432 hertz. And that was made at a time whenever they called it basically oral caffeine. It's like having a cup of coffee, because they changed the frequency over into 440 because they were gearing up for the war machines and they needed us productive. So they really created rock and roll to drive us forward. But yeah, any of the solfeggio tones, each one's very specific. The other one that I have come across was the Nadir. I think that's how it's pronounced. Nadir tones in a, that might actually be with a G. Now that I'm thinking of it, not Nadir. I'd have to do a little more research on it. Let me see if I can type it in. Nadir frequencies is another one that I've come across. And there again, it is right in there in alignment with things like Rife, the Rife frequencies. Yeah, we found each other. Exactly. Yeah, I love Sapien Med. He's really sweet. I've listened to him for a really, really long time. There is one that I came across, but I don't have the name in front of me. But they have two different tones that are playing in each ear. And what happens is, as you do that, it sets up a frequency in the center of your brain. And so I've been playing around a little bit with that. And then depending on the tone, sometimes I can do the crystal bowls, the resonant bowls. For example, I think it's Lily Starseed Nova, or maybe it's Lily Nova Starseed. She tries to do a frequency meditation at least once a week on Sundays. And she has different specific frequency bowls that she'll play. I love those. Some of the bowls I enjoy, but other ones I don't. And there again, we just have to do this biofeedback thing where we feel into our body and we decide if it works well for us or not. Solfeggios are the other tones that are highly, highly beneficial. And so, like this month, it has been more of a focus on 852 hertz. We're going into Okapi. Hi, Mousy. We're going into Okapi, and so with that, we're going to want to do 963 hertz for the month of December. So, Gray. Oh. Is that your solar return then, Gray? Because if you are, then you are going to be what's called the sign of Okapi, and that is the light of Father. That is the essence of that. And so what will happen is the light, the undistorted light that comes from the central sun will then come through Tokay, which is the North Star, and will come onto the planet. And that will be the flavor for the month, as they say, our essence. Yeah, there's been a lot of alchemy that I've been playing around with. Dream Seeds is connected to Sapien and is a very good landscape, or I should say soundscape. And yeah, a lot of it is, that's just it. We're waking up. Most of us have been here over and over and over again. And so with the Lemurian stuff, it has been Wayawatapu, I remember you. Which is, oh, hi. Yes, I remember you. Yeah, the Nautier might be incorrect as far as the spelling goes, but it was another one of the frequencies that I came across, and it was to do mostly with tailoring for frequency for pain and basically different pains in the body, and so the frequencies would affect different areas in your body. The sounds and how they interact with the nervous system depend on if you're going to get relief or not. And there again, it's a biofeedback thing where you just have to decide if it's going to work for your body or not. Usually just a few seconds in. If you're getting what I call a biofeedback squeal or a sound squeal, back away from it. It's not so much for you at that particular moment. And you'll get it because it'll be like fingers on a chalkboard. You'll duck out of it pretty quick. Yeah, the Nautiers I hadn't heard of until about a year ago. And there again, it was somebody that was using it. The Solfegios have been around for an extremely long time. If you go into different things like the creations of the Gregorian chants and the way that the churches were designed, the old cathedrals, they worked on acoustic principles. And so when you hear the solfeggios being played, it's not even so much a matter of that. I mean, they had the chants that were going. And that was part of the reason that they created the churching system, because they wanted people to be able to come into the church to sing in those tones, or at least be bathed in those solfeggio frequencies, because it centers and heals the body. Because you are affecting the components of the body, the electrical system of the body. It helps to bring the acoustics back in balance. And by doing that, they were helping their, well, I use the word because it came out, peasantry. They were helping their peasantry to stay healthy and as sound as they could for as long as they could. I don't really listen too much to Nostradamus, just simply because his quatrains are they're so loosely based. You could do just about anything to them and fit things in. But I don't tend to be a prognosticator. I don't tend to I don't want to know the future. I really don't. I feel really sad for people who have glimpses of the future, because some of these things that are supposed to be our choices in those particular timelines, they're about as flexible as a rock. So it's depressing to them that you've got this destiny thing set, which is ridiculous, because all of us here have been jumping multiple timelines. In fact, we're living in multiple timelines right now. So we need to be capable of jumping out of things like those predictions into a different timeline. You don't like that timeline? You don't like that outlook? Hop into a different one. It's like that. Karma. People really don't want to hear this, but from 3 different gurus that I'd heard, karma actually collapsed in 2012 with the 2012 ending of the Mayan calendar. The universe is a mirror. And I'll say it again because the two weeks ago now, the dolphins really brought it in, because I had a bunch, as I woke up, I had a bunch of shadow work that I'd been doing. And we've all collapsed things over and over and over again. But whenever I woke up, the dolphins were showing me all these things hanging in my aura. And I was shocked that they were still there. What they had told me was, your shadow work, they're just echoes. So you can actually collapse everything. And they were suggesting that I stop putting the energy into the old echo. Because like an echo, as we put things out in and we mirror it out into our universe, it reflects back to us. So when it first bounces back to us, it seems very tangible, very real. But the more that we can focus on what we do want, love, peace, frequencies higher, harmony, then that will help to collapse. You stop feeding into all of the other stuff, and it will collapse those waves. That's exactly what I'm trying to say, but it's kind of convoluted. I was told that the karma cycle ended. That does not mean that you go out there and you create hideousness, because what's going to happen is the universe will create hideous back at you 10 times over. So the actual karma thing ended. That timeline actually ended. And yeah, karmic debt will be repaid, simply because as you put that out into your universe, it automatically bounces back to you 10 times over. So in a way, it's still your karmic debt. And it's exactly it. You need to give out love. Bingo. Our assignment is love. And the dolphins would say laughter. Laughter is a great tool too. Laughter will help to elevate your frequency very quickly. It definitely, anything. And I know even just silly cat videos or stand-up comedy. The only thing that I would suggest is, if you can avoid it, anything that's caustic, where you're kind of dissing down somebody, making digs and things at people's appearances, etc. Obviously, if you need that as a tool to help elevate yourself, fine, but try to get away from that as quickly as you can. Just do pure silliness and happiness. Yeah, and joy is higher than love. So sometimes, as I was saying, we need to do neutrality, and sometimes just that laughter thing, even a sarcastic laughter, will pull you up into the neutrality point, so that you can go up into love, so that you can go up into joy. And whenever you do that, then we are leaving behind the struggle, as they say. Interesting. Yeah, neutral's an amazing place to be. Yeah, that's great place to be. To be in Ananda. That's cool. Yeah, babies, I know, right? Their little laugh, and that's just it, because they are so close to the source. You can hear it. It's the same laugh that you get from the dolphins. It's that pure joy. And they haven't been here long enough to be caught in the traps that the adults are. Yeah, my turn for 1111. Awesome. Okay, gang. Well, I'm going to go ahead and hop out of here. And I really sincerely hope that each and every one of you have a beautiful holiday if you're celebrating. And even if you're not, happy Thanksgiving to you. I thank you for being in my world. And I thank you for coming out and playing. And I will see you again next Tuesday then. Bye. Safe travels, everyone. If you're traveling anywhere to visit, be safe. And I will see you.